Hello dear student, welcome to new session of your chapter called Work Power Energy. It's your second lecture. In last lecture we'll discuss about basic information of work as work is basically force dot displacement, and there is one more formula for finding work. It is integration of f vector dot dr vector. We have two different formulas. If I'll open this formula, we'll get fd cos theta, where theta is angle between force and displacement. In last lecture I already told you that if the force is constant, because work done depends on force, so basically on the basis of force work is classified into two parts. On the basis of force work is classified into two parts, as work done depends on force. Forces are of two types. One is your constant force and other is your variable force. So if force is constant, then the formula of work done is simple. It is W is equals to F vector dot D vector, or we can say W is equals to FD cos theta. And if force is variable, my dear student, then we have to use the method of integration, that is W is equals to integral f vector dot dr vector. So this is work done by variable force and this is work done by constant force. In last lecture we'll already discuss that work done is nothing but scalar quantity. It only depends on magnitude but not direction. So my dear student, that's why I'm saying work done is basically dot product of force and displacement. In last class we'll see on the basis of angle between force and displacement, work done is classified into three types. Work is positive, work is negative, or it may be zero. In last lecture we'll discuss all the three cases. Now moving forward, write down next heading. It is spring force. Spring force and work done by spring force and work done by spring force. Remember, work is performed only by force. No one can perform work unless we don't have forces. So remember, this statement is very easy to think, but remember this thing, my dear student, work is only performed by force. No one is capable to perform work done unless we don't have force. So first of all, we are discussing about spring force. So my dear student, see, there are 2-3 things in last chapter we already discussed about spring force, that is spring can be elongated or it may be compressed. First thing, spring can be elongated or it may be compressed. Write down first point, spring can be elongated or it may be compressed. Spring can be elongated or it may be compressed. Spring can be elongated or it may be compressed. First thing about spring is either spring go ahead with elongation or spring go ahead with compression. We can do two things with the spring. Either spring can be elongated or spring can be compressed. Remember, third point, which is very important, if spring is in its natural length, if spring is in its natural length, then the value of spring force is 0. Remember, if the spring is in its natural length, then the value of spring force is always considered to be, my dear student, 0. So if you want to spring force, then you have to either elongate the spring or you have to compress the spring. Write down next point. If we wish to want, write down next point. If we wish to want spring force, if we wish to want spring force, then if we want to spring force, then either we have to elongate the spring, then either we have to elongate the spring or we have to compress the spring. Either we have to elongate the spring or we have to compress the spring. Either we have to elongate the spring or we have to compress this thing. Very important point, my dear student. If we want spring force, then we have to either elongate the spring or we have to compress the spring, because if the spring is in its natural length, then the value of spring force is always considered to be 0. Remember this thing. Next point, write down, my dear student. Write down next point, that is fifth point, which is very important. According to me it is fourth, but in your notebook it is fifth point. Write down the value of spring force is, let's suppose, my dear student, we have a spring and this spring is attached with a block whose mass is m. Let's suppose the natural length of spring is L and its spring constant is K. Then we can say the spring force is directly proportional to x, where this x is either elongation or compression. Either elongation or compression. So we can say the value of spring force depends how much you are compressing or elongating the spring. So the value of spring force is directly proportional to x, where x is elongation or compression. If we want to remove the proportionality, we have to introduce a constant. Here k is, my dear student, spring constant. Remember, so the value of spring force is F is equals to kx, where k is spring constant and x is elongation or compression. Remember this thing. Next point is, which is very important. See, actually spring force is already discussed by us in Newton's laws of motion, but here again I am discussing because I want to find work done by spring force. That's why I am revising all the things. So fifth point, spring always wants to be in its natural length. Write down, spring always wants to be in its natural length. Spring always wants to be in its natural length. Remember this thing, very important point, my dear student. Spring always wants to be in its natural length means the direction of spring force basically depends on either you are compressing the spring or you are elongating the spring, because spring always wants to stay in its natural length. So check it out what I am saying. Let's suppose we have a spring and along with this spring, let's suppose the original length of spring is L and spring constant is K. Let's suppose I am elongating the spring. And the value of elongation is x. So see, my dear student, I am elongating the spring. I will pull the spring by a distance of x. So spring always wants to stay in its natural length, means the value of spring force which is applied by spring on this block is in this direction. We can say inward, because spring always wants to stay in its natural length. So remember, if spring is elongated, then the direction of spring force is inward. This is basically inward direction. Similarly, let's suppose we have a spring of a spring constant K, original length L, and I am compressing the spring. Let's suppose I'll compress the spring and the compression value is x. So I am compressing the spring. Now see, if I am compressing the spring as we already know that spring always wants to stay in its natural length, so spring apply force in block towards outward, and the value of force becomes F is equals to Kx. So remember, if spring is elongated, then the direction of spring force is inward, and if spring is compressed, then the direction of spring force is outward. I am repeating once again, this spring force is already discussed by us in detail in Newton's laws of motion. Still I am repeating once again. Moving forward, let's see one more example. Let's suppose we have a block of mass m, spring constant k, and let's suppose the block it is but obvious that the block moves down. So in this spring, elongation takes place. So let's suppose the elongation is x. So what I'll say, I'm making the FBD. If mass is m, then its weight is mg. And if this block is attached with spring and block moves down, so it is but obvious that the direction of spring force is inward, because here the spring is getting elongated, and we know that if a spring is elongated, then the direction of force is inward, or we can say spring always wants to stay in its natural length. So for achieving its natural length, the direction of force must be upward, and it is F is equals to Kx. This is the free body diagram. Similarly, if I'll make like this, let's suppose this is a spring and there is a block placed above the spring. So it is but obvious, my dear student, let's suppose spring constant is K and compression is X. So in this situation, if block is placed above the spring get compressed. So spring always wants to in its natural length. If I'll make the FBD in this situation, vertically downward we have mg, and spring force must be outward, or we can say away from the body, because we know that if compression takes place, then the value of spring force is away, and if elongation takes place, then the value of spring force is inside, or we can say inward. So my dear student, remember, spring force is F is equals to Kx, and if spring is compressed, then the direction of spring force is away, and if spring is elongated, then the direction of spring force is towards. As simple as this. Moving forward, we have two types of basically forces. One is constant force and other is variable force. For both the forces, the value of work done, or we can say the formula of work done, is different. If force is constant, then we know that, I'm repeating once again, the formula of work done is simple, F vector dot d vector, or we can say FD cos theta, where theta is angle between force and displacement. This formula is valid if force is constant. But what if force is variable? So if force is variable, then we have to move for integration, that is W is equals to integral F vector dot dr vector, or we can say integral F dr cos theta, where theta is angle between force and displacement. Now write down heading, work done by the spring force. Work done by the spring force. Work done by the spring force. So now we have to discuss work done by the spring force. So write down work done by the spring force. Work done by the spring force. First of all, remember one point, very important point, work done by spring force. Very important point is, remember, before finding the work done, just keep in your mind work is always performed by force. So here we are talking about work done by spring force. So basically our force is spring force. Remember this thing. So now we have to discuss work done by spring force, and we know that the value of spring force is F is equals to Kx. Now see, my dear student, spring force try to understand. Spring force is F is equals to Kx, means spring force is proportional to X. X is either elongation or compression. See, if X changes, that is, if you'll elongate more the spring, the value of spring force is more. If you'll compress more the more spring, the value of spring force is also more. So spring force is directly proportional to, we can say, either elongation or compression. X is elongation or compression. Remember this thing, very important point. So basically this spring force depends on X. It means the spring force is, my dear student, variable force. Remember, spring force is variable force because its value changes if the value of X change. If the value of X change, then the value of spring force is also change. So basically spring force is variable force. If I am talking about weight of the body is mg. Mg is basically constant force, but spring force is variable force. So right now we have to perform work done by spring force. So write down please. Spring force is a variable force. Spring force is a variable force. Spring force is a variable force. So see, my dear student, let's suppose we have a spring. With spring a block is attached whose mass is m, and I am taking this block, I am elongating this block from point P to point Q. Let's suppose the original length of spring is L and spring constant is K. This is its original position, and we all know that if we want spring force, then we have to either elongate the spring or we have to compress the spring. So I am elongating the spring. This is our initial point, P is our initial point and Q is our final point. So let's suppose from the original position, the initial point is x1 distance apart and the final point is x2 distance apart. I am taking the spring, I am taking the block, or we can say I am extending the spring from point P to point Q. From initial position, from original position, the initial point is at x1 distance apart and the final point is x2 distance apart. Now see why I am saying that spring force is variable force, because if this block is placed here, let's suppose at point P, then the elongation is x1. If at point P I am talking about point P, then at point P the value of spring force is F is equals to Kx, means F is equals to Kx1. If this block is take at point Q, this distance is x2, means the spring is elongated by x2. So if the block is placed at point Q, in that situation the force which is applied on block is F is equals to Kx, X is x2, so we can say F is equals to Kx2. So my dear student, basically what happens, between point P and Q, the spring force continuously changes. Hence we say that the value of spring force is, my dear student, variable. The value of spring force is variable. So moving forward, remember, I am taking a midpoint from here between point P and Q. Let's suppose we have a midpoint O. Here I am placing the this block which is attached with spring. Let's suppose this elongation is x. Consider an intermediate point. I am writing here. Consider a intermediate point between P and Q. Consider an intermediate point between P and Q. Let the elongation of spring be x is equals to x. I'm considering the elongation value of spring is x. Now see my dear student, if I'm placing this block at point O, so we know that here we have elongation and spring always wants to stay in its natural length. So the direction of force which is applied by spring at this position is inward, and it is F is equals to kx. Now see, in this direction we know it is minus I cap, and in this direction we know the direction is I cap, because this is positive x-axis and this is negative x-axis. So the value of force vector, if I am talking about force vector, value of F vector is nothing but minus kx I cap, minus I cap my dear student, because the force is towards negative x-axis. Now see, I am taking this block from point P to point Q, so my displacement, let's suppose I am displacing small in this direction, let's suppose dx, and in this direction we know that the direction unit vector is I cap. So let the displacement of block is what beta? Dx. So I am writing dx vector is equals to dx I cap, or we can say dr vector, displacement vector is dx I cap. Now see, if I am displacing very small, remember my dear student, if force is variable then we have to go for integration, and here force is variable, because I'll tell you, if this block is placed at P, then the value of force is F equals to kx1. If it is placed at Q, then the value of spring force is F equals to kx2. If the value is if the block is placed at point O, in that situation the value of spring force is F is equals to kx. So every point carry different value of force, so we can say spring force is variable force, and for variable force we cannot find work done directly. We have to find first small work done, then we have to integrate it. Remember, if force is variable, then you cannot find directly work done. You have to follow the method of, my dear student, integration. So here I am applying integration. Now see, if displacement is very small, then work done by the spring force is also very small. So I'll write here work done by spring force, small work done is there, so dw is equals to F vector dot dr vector. So dw is equals to F vector means minus kx minus I cap dot dx I cap. Now we all know that I dot I becomes equals to, dear student, 1, so dw becomes equals to minus kx dx. See, here negative sign indicates that force is in this side and displacement is in this side. So write down negative sign indicates the direction of force and displacement. Negative sign indicates the direction of force and displacement are opposite to each other. The direction of force and displacement are opposite to each other. So see, my dear student, this is basically small work done by spring force. I am finding total work done. So for net work done, integrating both sides, remember, very important concept, my dear student, in physics, we'll use a lot. If small quantity is there and you want to find total quantity, you have to integrate the term. So integration of dw is equals to minus integration of kx dx. Now see, as we know, integration of dx is x, so integration of dw, but obvious w, it is equals to minus. We know that from in case of integration we'll take constant outside, so k comes outside and it is x dx. Now see, I am taking this block from point P to point Q, and remember one thing, my dear student, basically the limit of integration decides by last term. So last term is of displacement. We are taking this block from point P to point Q. If block is placed at point P, then displacement is x1, and block is placed at point Q, then displacement is x2. So limit must be from x1 to x2. So w becomes equals to minus k, x dx is x square by 2, and limit is x1 to x2. So work done becomes equals to minus k, 2 comes outside, upper limit that is x2 square minus lower limit that is x1 square. Let's take negative inside. So what we'll get? We will get the value of work done by the spring force is, so negative taking inside, so k by 2, x1 comes first then x2 because I am taking negative inside. So what we'll get? Half k x1 square minus half k x2 square. x1 is initial point of elongation and x2 is final point of elongation. I hope you all understand this concept. This concept is called work done by spring force. Remember my dear student, forces are of two types. One is constant force, another is variable force. If force is constant, then simple, we'll use formula work done is equals to F vector dot displacement vector. But if force is variable, then remember you have to go with integration, because variable force, with the help of variable force, you cannot find net work done together, or we can say work done. So thank you so much my dear student. In next class, we'll discuss some more topics related to work, power and energy chapter. Till then, please take care, make notes. Try to revise each and every chapter what we'll cover. Next class we'll discuss a new topic. Thank you so much.